So welcome to this video series on aptitude presented by Mentors for IAS in association with Bangalore IAS Academy and Namak APSC. Now, this is an initiative of Namak APSC to help students to prepare and study from home with the help of YouTube videos, current affairs available on the website, PDF materials for every subject and online tests to track your preparation. So do remember to visit www.namakapsc.com for more information. So in this particular session, we will start with a topic known as certs and indices. Now maybe some of you would have not heard of this particular topic, but I'm pretty sure you would have come across problems under this particular topic. You may not have known that it comes under certs and indices. So in order to give you an introduction, you have to know that, see, numbers which cannot be expressed in the form of two integers are called as certs. Okay, so first let me explain what is certs. So in this topic, certs and indices, what is certs? So you have to remember, numbers which cannot be expressed in the fraction form of two integers are called as certs. Hence, the numbers in the form of root 3 or cube root of 2 or fourth root of 5, such as this, or the nth root of x, whatever it is, they are known as certs. See, for example, I can write root 1 by root 9, correct? However, this root 1 by root 9 can also be written as 1 by 3. Hence, this is not certs. This is not certs. However, if I write root 3 cannot be written in the form of fractions. I cannot write root 3 in the form of x by y. Hence, irrational numbers which contain the radical sign, that is the root, they are called as certs. They are called as certs. So here I will give you the law of certs. I will give you the law of certs. Okay, so what do you have to know when it comes to law of certs? Okay, you may just make a note of these things so that whenever you want, you can actually go back to it for reference. So I'm sure everybody knows this, but just to recap everything, just to refresh everybody's memory. Now see here, the nth root of a. The nth root of a can also be written as a to the power 1 by n. Nth root of a can be written as a to the power n. Okay, this is your first one. Second, the nth root of a into b. The nth root of a into b can also be written as the nth root of a into the nth root of b. The nth root of a into b, here it is a product of a and b, can be individually written as the nth root of a into the nth root of b. It is the same thing. Third one, the nth root of a divided by b, the nth root of a by b. This can be written as what? Similar to this, the nth root of a whole thing divided by the nth root of b. We can individually write it as the nth root of a by nth root of b, meaning this is this works vice versa as well, meaning if you have nth root of a by nth root of b, you can write it as nth root of a by b. If you have nth root of a into nth root of b, you can write it as nth root of a by b. If you have a to the power 1 by n, you can write it as nth root of a. It works vice versa as well. Fourth law, when you have the nth root of a whole to the power n. Whole to the power n. What is this equal to? This is equal to a. This is equal to just a. Why? Because see, nth root of a is what? Nth root of a is a to the power 1 by n. So this will be nothing but a to the power 1 by n to the power n. So this you will understand when I explain indices for you. So this is nothing but a to the power n by n. This will be equal to a. So just remember, nth root of a to the power n is equal to a, where n can be any number, where n can be any rational number. Now fifth law over here, the not n that but the m root of the nth root of a can be written as m into n root of a. Here I have the nth root of a. Okay, so we take the m root of the nth root of a. This is equal to what? M into n root of a. This is the fifth law. Finally, the last law under the law of search, sixth one, we have the nth root of a to the power m. The nth root of a to the power m. This can be written as the nth root of a whole thing divided by, whole thing to the power of m. Here we have a to the power m. There is nth root of a to the power m. This can be written as nth root of a whole to the power m. So all these six laws sums up the law of search. So you can just make a note of these things so that you can remember it, you can make a use of it, you can utilize them as and when required to solve problems. However, I'll only be solving few problems. I will not be utilizing all of these laws because it will take a lot of time. Plus, this is a topic which is not very, very important. See, I want you to know that, see, again, problems from this particular topic, that is search and indices. Okay. Problems of this kind are not very, very popular, and it is unlikely that you will get many questions in your civil services examination. It is also possible that you might not get any question at all, but there is always a possibility that you may get a question. Hence, I am actually doing this one session on search and indices. Also, I want you to know that there is no one particular method, formula, or type to solve these problems. Of course, there are law of search, and when it comes to indices also you have to remember something, but these are just laws which have to be used in solving the problems. This is not the method in itself. Meaning, if you solve one question, it does not mean that you will be able to solve other questions. You will be able to solve more questions. To get better, as always, you have to solve more and more questions. That is the only option for you to be able to solve questions under search and indices. Now, this topic not being very important, I'll not solve too many problems. We'll wrap up this concept in a single session. Also, these problems do not take too much of time. Usually they are simple. You will not get very, very difficult questions even for your civil services examination. So we'll wrap up the search and indices with this particular session itself, or this particular video itself. So as I told you, this is the law of search. So now let me move on to indices. Let me now move on to indices. Now here we have indices. Now when it comes to indices, indices refers to the power to which a number is raised. Index is used to show that a number is repeatedly multiplied by itself. For example, take a to the power 3. Now, a to the power 3 is a number with an index of 3 and a base a. A to the power 3, this is a number. This is a number. It is a number with an index of 3 and a base a. So it is called a to the power 3. Therefore, it is called a to the power 3. This is indices. Now similar to your search, you also have the law of indices. You have certain things that you have to remember over here. So the law of indices. The law of indices. Okay. First law. When you have a to the power m into a to the power n, you can write this as a to the power m plus n. When you have a to the power m into a to the power n, you can write it as a to the power m plus n. Meaning what? If you have 2 to the power 3 into 2 to the power 4, you can write this as 2 to the power 3 plus 4, which is nothing but 2 to the power 7. I hope this is clear and simple. Second law, when you have a to the power m divided by a to the power n, you can write this as a to the power m minus n. You can write this as a to the power m minus n. This is because if you have, for example, a to the power n, you can bring this to the numerator and write it as a to the power minus n. Similarly, if you have a to the power n, you can bring this to the denominator and write it as a to the power minus n. You can write it as a to the power minus n. So here we will bring this to the numerator. So this will once again be what? It will be very similar to a to the power m into a to the power minus n. So what did I tell you earlier? Whenever you have a to the power m into a to the power n, it is nothing but a to the power m plus n. However, here n is negative. Therefore, it is m minus n. Hence, we get a to the power m minus n. Third law. Now we have a to the power m whole to the power n. Then what happens? We can write this as a to the power m into n. We can write this as a to the power m into n. Now the fourth law. Now we have the fourth law. Here we have ab to the power n. We have ab, a into b to the power n. This is equal to a to the power n into b to the power n. So we can individually represent it as a to the power n into b to the power n. Fifth law, we have a divided by b whole to the power n. Now, when we have a divided by b whole to the power n, this can be written as a to the power n divided by b to the power n individually. Again, we can bring this to the numerator as well. We can write it as a into n, a to the power n into b to the power minus n. So you have to be careful with the minus sign. Finally, the sixth law, a to the power 0. What is a to the power 0? As everybody knows, a to the power 0 is nothing but 1. So this sums up the law of indices. Once again, just like your law of search, you can also make a note of the law of indices. Because search and indices, these laws of search and indices can be made useful when it comes to calculations, when it comes to simplification under other topics or other concepts as well. Because these are what? This is nothing but basic mathematical operations. And to solve any problem, to solve any question in maths, obviously you will have to make use of mathematical operations. Okay. So I hope this concept of law and search, the search and indices are clear up to some extent. You have a basic introduction. Now, in order for the entire concept to be very clear, obviously we'll have to start solving problems. Only when we start solving problems, only when we get the answer will it actually be very clear to us. So now let us start with our first question. Okay. Now the first question. Now here, since it includes a lot of roots and power, what I will be doing is that I will be writing the question itself. Okay, so I will write the question itself. So what is the first question? Okay, so the first question is, which is larger? The first question says, which is larger, root 2 or the cube root of 3? Which is larger, root 2 or the cube root of 3. Then you can have options. Option A says root 2 is larger. Option B says the cube root of 3 is larger. Option C says both are equal. And option D says it cannot be determined. Now, obviously, if you know the value of root 2, I'm pretty sure many of you will know the value of root 2, and again, values of root 2, root 3, root 5, all these things may be known by many. See, root 2 is what, nothing but 1.41. Okay. However, root 3 also you may know it. Root 3 also you may know it as 1.73. But what about cube root? What about cube root of 3? Okay, so when it comes to the cube root or fourth root or fifth root of something, it actually becomes difficult for you to compare. Now the question is not asking for you, is not asking for the value. Value is not required. If you know the value, it becomes obviously you can compare it. But how can we determine if root 2 is greater or the cube root of 3 is greater without actually determining the value? So this is where we have to bring in the concept of surds and indices, the laws of surds and indices. So now let us consider the question here. Okay. Now, when it comes to root 2 or the cube root of 3, here the question gives us surds which are of the order 2 and 3, See, this is root 2, meaning what? 2, right? 2 root of the 2 root of 2. Then this is nothing but 3, meaning cube root of 3. Sorry, not 2 root, I mean square root. Square root of 2 and the cube root of 3. So what is this? The orders of 2 and 3. Now when you have determined the order, that is 2 and 3, we will have to consider the LCM of 2 and 3. So their LCM, the LCM of the orders, that is 2 and 3. What is the LCM of 2 and 3? It is obvious, the LCM is nothing but 6. So what we will be doing is that we will change each surd, to a surd of order 6. In the question, it is given in the order of 2 and 3, but we will now change each surd to a surd of order 6. How do we do that? This is how we have to solve the problem now. So, taking the first number, that is square root of 2. So, root 2. So, going by the law of surds, where I said that nth root of a can be written as a to the power 1 by n. I did tell you nth root of a can be written as a to the power 1 by n. So, what I will do is, I will write root 2 as 2 to the power 1 by 2. 2 to the power 1 by 2. Now, I have to change it to the order 6. So, what I will do is, see here, see 2 remains as it is. However, I will take 1 by 2, I will multiply and divide it by 3. See, this does not change anything. I am multiplying by 3, I am also dividing it by 3. 3 and 3 gets cancelled, I will still have 1 by 2 itself. I am multiplying and dividing it by 3. Now what do I get? I will get 2 to the power 3 into 1 is 3 divided by 3 to the 6. Now see, I have changed the order from 2 to 6. Now it is of the order 6. Now again going back to your law of surds itself. If you consider all the laws that I have given you, can I write this as 2 cube whole to the power 1 by 6? Yes, I can write this as 2 cube whole to the power 1 by 6. Now, what is 2 cube? I am going to write this over here. Now, what is 2 cube? 2 cube is nothing but 8. 2 into 2 into 2. Now, this is nothing but 8 to the power 1 by 6. So, now I am going to write root 2 as what? the sixth root of 8. The sixth root of 8. Now I have changed root to see the value will still remain the same. The value will still remain the same. The sixth root of 8 is nothing but root 2 itself. But I have changed the order to 6. I have changed the order to 6. So root 2, I am representing root 2 as the sixth root of 8. Now let me take the second, that is the cube root of 3. Cube root of 3. So can I write this as 3 to the power 1 by 3? Can I write this as 3 to the power 1 by 3? Yes. Now what will I do? I have to change the order to 6. So I will take 3. This remains the same. However, here I will multiply this and divide by 2. Why am I multiplying dividing it by 2? Because I wish to change the order to 6. See, similarly here I have multiplied it by 3 because I wanted to change the order to 6. Here I am multiplying and dividing by 2 instead of 3 so that I can change it to 6. So what do I get here? I get 3 to the power 2 by 6. Similarly, just as I have written 2 to the 2 cube whole to the power 1 by 6, I will write it as 3 square whole to the power 1 by 6. What is 3 square? 3 square is nothing but 9. 9 to the power 1 by 6. Now can I write it as 6th root of 9? Yes, this is nothing but 6th root of 9. Now see here, I have written square root of 2 as the 6th root of 8. I have written cube root of 3 as the 6th root of 9. Earlier, since the orders were different, it was difficult for us to determine which number was larger, which value was larger. But now, since the order is the same, it is the 6th root of 8 and 6th root of 9, we can obviously determine that the 6th root of 9 is greater than the 6th root of 8. So, if the 6th root of 9 is greater than 6th root of 8, what does this mean? The cube root of 3 is greater than the square root of 2. Therefore, the correct answer is cube root of 3. The correct option is option B. Cube root of 3 is greater than square root. So, I hope you've understood this question. Let us go to the second question. We'll solve a similar question, a question similar to this, so that you have an idea of what has happened over here. Okay, so let us take the next question. Question number 2. Question number 2. Now, question number 2, which is the largest? Which is the largest among the fourth root of 6, the square root of 2, and the cube root of 4? The cube root of 4. Now you have the options. Option A says fourth root of 6 is largest. Option B says square root of 2 is largest. Option C says cube root of 4 is largest. D says cannot be determined. But obviously we know it can be determined. It can be determined. Now, look at the question over here. Look at the question over here. We have, instead of 2 numbers, there are 3 numbers. Okay. So, the given surds are of the order, 4, 2, this is square root, and 3 respectively. Since the orders are different, it is difficult for us to compare their values. We cannot say what is greater, which number is greater, which number has a greater, which one has the greater value over here. So what will we do? We will take their LCM. We will take their LCM. Now, what is the LCM of 4, 2 and 3? See, we have already done LCM and HCF. So by now you should know how to take the LCM. So when you have 4, 2 and 3, 2 means what? We can only take it as 4. So what is the LCM of 4 and 3? 4 and 3 is nothing but 4 3s are 12. So the LCM is what? Their LCM of 4, 2 and 3 is 12. So what will we do now? We will change the surd, we will change each surd to a surd of order 12 so that we can now compare it. So I'll take the first number, so I'll take the first one. First case, what do we have? We have the fourth root of 6. What will I write it as? I will write it as 6 to the power 1 by 4. 6 to the power 1 by 4. Now what is required of us? I have to change the base, this 4 to 12. How can I change it to 12? I'll write 6, 1 by 4 into 3 divided by 3. 1 by 4 into 3 by 3. So this will give us what? This will give us 6 to the power 3 by 12. 6 to the power 3 by 12. What will I write this as? I will write it as 6 cube whole to the power 12. Whole to the power 12. Now what is 6 cube? 6 is a 36. 36 into 6. 36 into 6. 6 is a 36. 6 is a 18. 18 plus 3, 216. So 6 cube is 216. So I will now write it as 216 to the power 1 by 12, or nothing but the 12th root of 216. Now the 12th root of 216 is equal to the 4th root of 6. I have just changed the order. I only changed the order. Let us take the second. What does it say? Root 2. The question gives us gives it to us as root 2. So I can write root 2 as 2 to the power 1 by 2. This is equal to 2 to the power 1 by 2 into 6 by 6, because I have to change the base to 12. 6 to the 12. I'll write this as 2 to the power 6 by 12, or 2 to the power 6 whole to the power 1 by 12. And what is 2 to the power 6? 2 to the 4, 4 to the 8, 8 to the 16, 16 to the 32, 32 to the 64. So this is what? It is 64 whole to the power 1 by 12. So I can write this as the 12th root of 64, meaning root 2, square root of 2 is equal to 12th root of 64. Again we've changed the order. Third one, we have cube root of 4. We have cube root of 4. Now we will write the cube root of 4 as 4 to the power 1 by 3. This is equal to what? 4 to the power 1 by 3. I will now multiply it by 4 divided by 4, because 4 3s are 12. I have to change the base to 12 of the power. So this gives us 4 to the power 4 by 12. I can write this as 4 to the power 4 whole to the power 12. Whole to the power 12. What is 4 to the power 4? 4 4s are 16. 16 4s are 64. What is 64 into 4? 4 4s are 16 over here. 6 4s are 24. 25. So this is 256 to the power 1 by 12. This is nothing but 12th root of 256. This is nothing but the 12th root of 256. So I have written 4th root of 6 as 12th root of 216, square root of 2 as the 12th root of 64, cube root of 4 as 12th root of 256. Now can we compare? Yes, we can compare. Why? Because the order in all the three cases is the same. 12th root of 216, 12th root of 64, 12th root of 256. Now don't you think we can determine which is the greatest number, which is largest among them? Obviously it is the 12th root of 256, meaning it is cube root of 4. The largest is cube root of 4. The correct option is option C. The correct option is option C. So but with this, I hope this concept is clear to you. If you get any question about such as this, you should be able to solve it easily. So if this is clear, let us now move on to the next question, that is question number 3. Question number 3. Now, what does question number 3 say? Question number 3 says, if 1 by 5 to the power 3 by y is equal to 0.008, then find the value of 0.25 to the power y. Options are 1, option B is 0.5, option C is 0.25, and option D is cannot be determined. Cannot be determined. Okay. So what is the question saying? We have 1 by 5 to the power 3 by y, which is equal to 0.008. And the question is asking us to find out the value of 0.25 to the power y. So what do we have to do? We have to determine the value of y. We have to first determine the value of y, only then can we determine what is 0.25 equal to. So what I will do is, look here, what do I have? I have 0.008. Now, can I write 0.008 as 8 by 1000? Correct? 0.008 is nothing but 8 by 1000. So I have 8 by 1000. Now I will try to simplify 8 by 1000. Now obviously 4 2s are 8, 4 2s are 8. Now I can write 1000 as 10 into 100, where 425 times is equal to 100. So 25 into 10, this is 250. This is 250. Again 250 is divisible by 2, 1s are 1, 25s are. Meaning what? I can write 0.008 as equal to 125. As equal to 125. So going back, I have 1 by 5 whole to the power 3 by y is equal to 1 divided by 125. 1 divided by 125. Now look here, 125. Can I write 125 as 5 cube? Correct? What is 5 cube? 5 5s are 25, 25 5s are 125. So now I will write 125 as 1 divided by 5 cube. This is what? 1 by 5 whole to the power 3 by 5. Now this is nothing but 1 by 5 whole to the power 3 by 5 is equal to 1 by 5 whole to the power cube. Because 1 cube is what? 1 cube is nothing but 1 itself. So I can now write it as 1 by 5 whole to the power 3. See here, 1 by 5 to the power 3 by 5 is equal to 1 by 5 to the power 3. Meaning what? This is possible only when 3 by y is equal to 3. 3 by y is equal to y. This is possible only when 3 by y is equal to y. So 3 and 3 gets cancelled. I take y to the right hand side. Y is equal to 1. The value of y is 1. If y is 1, what is 0.25 to the power 1? It is nothing but 0.25 itself. Therefore, the correct answer is 0.25. The correct option is option C. The question is not asking for the value of 1. The question is asking for what is 0.25 to the power y. It is 0.25 itself. The correct option is option C. So I hope this is clear. I hope you've understood. These are simple problems. Okay, even if you get problems in civil services, more or less it will be simple. It will not be very difficult. So now let us move on to the next question, question number 4. What does question number 4 say? Question number 4 says, what do you get? Question number 4 says, what do you get when you divide, what do you get when you divide x to the power minus 1 minus 1, x to the power minus 1 by x minus 1 by x minus 1. So we have options. Option A says x, option B says 1 by x, option C says minus x, option D says minus 1 by x. We now have to determine what do you get when you divide x minus 1 by x minus 1. So what does the question say? X minus 1 divided by x minus 1. Now this is given in the question. The question itself says this. Now going back to law of surds. I did mention that if I have 1 by x, I can write it as x minus 1. So if I have x minus 1, I can also write it as 1 by x. So I will write this x minus 1 as 1 by x minus 1. The whole thing divided by x minus 1. The whole thing divided by x minus 1. So now look at this numerator over here. Now it is as if we are going to take LCM. So I will multiply minus 1 by x. I'll multiply minus 1 by x. So what do we get here? 1 minus x divided by x, the whole thing divided by x minus 1. What is this equal to? This is equal to 1 minus x divided by x into x minus 1. Now, can I write the numerator, which is 1 minus x, as minus of x minus 1? Correct? What am I doing? I am taking minus as common outside. I am taking minus as common out. See here, if I multiply minus inside, what will I get? I will once again get minus x plus 1, which is nothing but 1 minus x itself. But I have now taken out minus outside. What do I get? Minus into x minus 1 divided by x into x minus 1. So x minus 1 is common. We will cancel out x minus 1 and x minus 1. Meaning, what are we left with? We are left with minus 1 by x. Therefore, when you divide x minus 1, x to the power minus 1, whole thing divided by x minus 1, what do you get? You get minus 1 by x. Therefore, the correct option is option D. Question 4, correct option is option D. Okay, so now let us move over to the next question. Question number 5. Question number 5. Now, what does question number 5 say? Now, question number 5 says, if 2 to the power x minus 1 plus 2 to the power x plus 1 is equal to 1280, then find the value of x. If 2 to the power x minus 1 plus 2 to the power x plus 1 is equal to 1280, then find the value of x. So options are, option A says value of x is 1, option B says value of x is 3, option C says value of x is 9, option D as usual says cannot be determined. It says cannot be determined. Okay, so now let us try to find out. So what do we have? The question says 2 to the power x minus 1 plus 2 to the power x plus 1 is equal to 1280. 1280. Now again going back to your law of surds. See, I did mention that when you have a to the power m plus n, I can write it as a to the power m into a to the power n. Similarly, when we have a to the power m minus n, I can write it as a to the power m divided by a to the power n. So we will make use of this over here. So see here, this is what 2 to the power x minus 1. This is similar to what? A to the power m minus 1. What can I write this as? A to the power m divided by a to the power n. Meaning I will write 2 to the power x minus 1 as what? 2 to the power x by 2 plus we have 2 to the power x plus 1 which is similar to a to the power m plus 1. I can write this as a to the power m into a to the power n. Therefore, I will now write it as 2 to the power x into 2. This is equal to 1280. Now if you look here, I have 2 to the power x common. So what I will do is I will take 2 to the power x outside. I will take it as common. I will take it outside 2 to the power x. So once I have taken 2 to the power x outside, what am I left with? I have 1 by 2 plus 2 is equal to 1280 is equal to 1280. Now this taking LCM over here, what are we left with? We have 1 plus 2 2s are 4 plus 2 is equal to 1280, or 2x into 4 plus 1 5 by 2 is equal to 1280. I'll take this to the right hand side. We have 2x is equal to 1280 into 2 divided by 5 divided by 5. So what is this? 5 2s are 10, 2 8, so 5 5s are 25, 3 0, 5 6 are 30, 5 6 are 30. So we have 2x as what? 256 into 2, 256 into 2. If you remember from one of the previous problems, we got 256 from 4 to the power 4. If you remember from one of the previous problems, we had got 256 as 4 to the power 4. Now in these cases there is no option. See here, because 2 to the power x. So this we'll have to represent this somehow as 2 to the power something. 2 to the power something. So even if you get 256 here, since in one of the problems we had got 4 to the power 4 as equal to 256, we know 256 is nothing but 4 to the power 4. What if you all of a sudden get this particular problem and you don't know what is 256? So looking at this particular equation over here, since it is 2 to the power x, we will have to represent this somehow in the form of 2 to the power something. So this can be 256 should be able to, it should be possible that we are able to represent this in the form of 2 to the power something. So now we know that 256 is nothing but 4 to the power 4. We can write 4 to the power 4 as what? 2 to the power 8, correct? What is 4? 2 square. So that 2 and 4 multiply, we have 2 to the power 8. So this is nothing but 2 to the power 8 into 2, or 2 to the power x is equal to 2 to the power 9. Meaning what? X is equal to 9. 2 to the power x is equal to 2 to the power 9, meaning x is equal to 9. X is equal to 9. Therefore, the correct option here is option C. Correct answer is option 9. Sorry, answer is 9. So I hope this is clear. Let us now move on to the next question. Question number 6. Question number 6. Now question number 6 says, if 2 to the power x is equal to the cube root of 32. If 2 to the power x is equal to the cube root of 32, then x is equal to what? Then x is equal to what? What is the value of x? Okay, so we have options. Option A says it is 5, option B says it is 3, option C says it is 3 by 5, and option D says it is 5 by 3. It is 5 by 3. Okay, now this should be very simple to you. You should be able to solve this. Yes, so if it is as I told you in the previous problem, if I have 2 to the power x, I should somehow be able to represent this also as 2 to the power something. That something will be the value of x. So what is that? We have to determine. Now looking at this particular question, more or less you should be able to say that it has to be option D. Why? Because it is cube root. So obviously you will take 32 to the power 1 by 3. So it is something divided by 1 by 3. Okay, so it mostly has to be D. However, we cannot be very sure if that something is divisible by 3. So we have to be careful. I cannot, common sense suggests that it has to be option D, but we have to be careful. I cannot just go with my assumptions over here. So I will write 2x as equal to cube root of 32. Can I write this as 2x 2 to the power x as equal to 32 to the power 1 by 3? Correct? Now, since I have to represent it as 2 to the power something, see here, 2 into 2, 4, 4 2s are 8, 8 2s are 2 to the power 2 into 2 is 4, 4 2s are 8, 8 2s are 16, 16 2s are 32, 16 2s are 32. So how many 2s do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Meaning 32 is what? Nothing but 2 to the power 5. So I will now write 32 as 2 to the power 5 whole to the power 1 by 3. Now I can write this as 2 to the power x as equal to 2 to the power 5 by 3. Therefore x is what? Nothing but 5 by 3. X is what? Nothing but 5 by 3. Therefore the correct option is option D. Therefore the correct option is option D. I hope this is clear. So now let us go on to the next question, question number 7. Okay. So question number 7 says, if we have 2 to the power x into 8 to the power 1 by 5, which is equal to 2 to the power 1 by 5, then what is the value of x? Then x is equal to what? Then x is equal to what? Then x is equal to what? So we here have option A which says 1 by 5, option B which says 1 minus 1 by 5, C which says 2 by 5, and option D says minus 2 by 5. Now again, this must be simple, it must be clear to you. So if we have 2 to the power x into 8 to the power 1 by 5, which is equal to 2 to the power 1 by 5. Now we must try to represent everything in the form of 2 to the power something. So if we have 8 over here, 8 is what? 8 is nothing but 2 cube. 8 is nothing but 2 cube. Therefore, I will write it as 2 to the power x into 2 cube whole to the power 1 by 5 is equal to 2 to the power 1 by 5. So this is equal to 2 to the power x into 2 to the power 3 by 5 is equal to 2 to the power 1 by 5, equal to 2 to the power 1 by 5. I'll take this to the right hand side. We have 2 to the power x is equal to 2 to the power 1 by 5 divided by 2 to the power 3 by 5. Now I will take this to the numerator. So what do we have now? 2 to the power x is equal to 2 to the power 1 by 5 into 2 to the power minus 3 by 5. This is nothing but 2 to the power 1 by 5 minus 3 by 5, minus 3 by 5. So we have 2 to the power x is equal to 1 by 5 minus 3 by 5 is what? Here numerator remains the same. Therefore this is nothing but 2 to the power minus 2 by 5. Therefore x is nothing but minus 2 by 5. Therefore the correct answer is minus 2.5. The correct option is option D. So now let us move on to the next question. Question number 8. Now question number 8 says, if m and n are whole numbers, if m and n are whole numbers such that m to the power n is equal to 121, then what is the value of m minus 1 whole to the power n plus 1, whole to the power n plus 1. Here we have option A. Option A is what? 1. Option B as 10. Option C as 121. And option D as 1000. And option D as 1000. Now, this is the type of question. This question itself is actually a bit easy. However, it is very unlikely that you will get such questions in your civil services examination. Even if you get, they are easy, they are simple. But after reading them, if you are not able to understand as to how to approach this problem, I would suggest, don't break your head, move on to the next problem. If you do have time at the end, you can return back to this problem. Do not waste too much of time, because there is a certain approach. If you miss that approach, you will end up wasting a lot of time trying to do different things, and you may not get the answer. It will only you'll only end up being frustrated, wasting your time. Your pressure will start to increase. Okay, so you don't have to break your head, because obviously there are several other topics, there are several other questions where you'll be able to solve them. So the point is to understand what is your strength. So we have solved so many different types of problems and questions. So here by now you should have understood what is your strength, what are you good at. However, I will solve this problem now. So take this 8th question. Now what is the question saying? We have m to the power n as equal to 121. Then, if so, what is m minus 1 to the power n plus 1 equal to? For this, we have to determine the value of m, we have to determine the value of n. How do we do that? How do we do that? See here, m to the power n is equal to 121. Doesn't everyone know 11 square is 121? Yes, 11 square is 121. If you don't know what is 11 square, then it becomes difficult. That is why you must know what is the approach. So here, everybody knows 11 square is 121. So if 11 square is 121, can I say m is 11? N is 2. Therefore, we will now substitute m as 11 and n as 2 over here to determine the value of m minus 1 to the power n plus 1, to the power n plus 1. So what do we have here? We have 11 minus 1 whole to the power 2 plus 1, whole to the power 2 plus 1. What is 11 minus 1? It is 10. 10 to the power 2 plus 1 is 3. 10 cube. What is 10 cube? 10 tens are 100, 100 tens are 1000. Therefore, the correct answer is 1000. The correct option here is option D. Is option D. Let us move on to the next question now. Question number 9. Question number 9. Now, question number 9 says, if 5 to the power x plus 3 is equal to 25 to the power 3x minus 4, then what is the value of x? Then what is the value of x? So we have to determine the value of x. So option A says it is 5 by 11. Option B says it is 11 by 5. Option C says it is 11 by 3. And option D says it is 13 by 5. It is 13 by 5. Correct? So we'll take this relation which is given in the question itself. 5 to the power x plus 3 is equal to 25 to the power 3x minus 4. See, 5 is obviously a prime number. So if we have to equate the power, if we have to equate the index, then we have to bring the base to the common level. 5 is prime number, I cannot reduce it any further. However, 25 is not a prime number, it is a multiple. It is a multiple of 5. So I will try to reduce it to 5. What is 25? 25 is nothing but 5 square. So I will write 25 as 5 square. What do we get? We get 5 to the power x plus 3 is equal to 5 square whole to the power 3x minus 4. What does this mean? 5 to the power x plus 3 is equal to 5 to the power 2 into 3x minus 4. Now, since the base is common, the base is the same, index will be equal to each other, meaning x plus 3 is now equal to 2 into 3x minus 4, or x plus 3 is equal to, opening the bracket, 2 into 3, 6x minus 8. I'll take x to the right hand side minus 8 to the left hand side. What do we get? 3 plus 8 is equal to 6x minus x. 3 plus 8 is 11. 6x minus x is 5x. Therefore, x is what? X is 11 by 5. X is 11 by 5. Therefore, the correct option is option B. The correct answer is 11 by 5. So I hope with these questions, the concept of surds and indices is clear up to some extent. Obviously, under surds and indices, you do have more complex problems, but it is not necessary for us to solve those problems, because there's absolutely no chance of you getting those such kind of questions in your civil services, UPSC or KPSC, state public service, whatever it is. In case, which is the probability is very, very low, in case you get it, I would suggest skip it. Just skip it, because until and unless you have the practice, until and unless you are used to solving problems under surds and indices, you will not be able to do it. So it is best to simply skip it. So here I will give you practice questions. I will give you 3 practice questions. Again, I will write the practice questions. So question number 1 is, if 3 to the power x minus 3 to the power x minus 1 is equal to 18, then what is the value of x to the power x? This is the question. If 3 to the power x minus 3 to the power x minus 1 is equal to 18, then what is the value of x to the power x? This is simple. See, the problem here is that if you have any doubt in these practice questions, I may not be able to give you the solution under the comment section, because it becomes a bit complex for me to type out the solution in this particular case. So I hope you know how to solve this. See, this is nothing but 3x to the power minus 1. So you can write it as 3x divided by 3. Take 3x common, then try to equate, try to bring this right hand side, the base to as base equal to 3, then try to equate, you will get the value of x. Then once you get the value of x, it is x to the power x. So if you get 2, if you get answer as 2, it is 2 to the power 2. Then try to find out what is the answer. So you have option A as 3, option B as 8, option C as 27, option D as 216. I hope you understood this. Take 3 to the power x common outside. Whatever is here you get, bring it to the right hand side. Simplify it, represent it in terms of 3 to the power of something. Bring the base to 3. Question number 2. Here we have, if 2 to the power n is equal to 64, then find the value of n. If 2 to the power n is equal to 64, then find the value of n. Again, bring this to the base of 2 to the power something. Option A is 2, option B is 4, option C is 6, and option D is 12, and option D is 12. See, 2 to the power n, it is square root of 2 to the power n. So I can write this as what? 2 to the power n whole to the power 1 by 2. It is equal to 2 to the power n by 2. So 2 to the power n by 2 is equal to 64. Reduce 64 as in terms of 2 to the power something. You will get the answer. Question number 3. Question number 3 is 2 to the power 2. This is 2. Let me just here we have 2 to the power 2n minus 1. 2 to the power 2n minus 1 is equal to 1 divided by 8 to the power n minus 3. 2 to the power 2 n minus 1 is equal to 8 to the power n minus 3. It is 8 to the power n minus 3. So then what is the value of n? What is value of n? Option A is 3, option B is 2, option C is 0, option D is minus 2. So do try to solve these practice questions. The third question should also be simple. Take a to the power n minus 3 to the numerator. What will you get? You will get a to the power 3 minus n. Represent 8 in terms of 2. 8 is nothing but 2 cube. So it is 2 to the power 3 into 3 minus n. So equate two sides, you will get 2n minus 1 equal to 3 into 3 minus n. Try to find out the value of n. So with this particular video, we will end our discussion, we'll end our session on third side indices. Okay, so practicing these problems should more or be enough. If you get anything extra, I suggest you just skip it. If you do have any doubts, please do write to us in the comment section. Please do follow us for more such videos. So thank you very much. Please do work hard. Please do practice more.